Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to crochet these quick gnome candy ornaments, which is a free pattern you'll find on mooglyblog.com. Please go to the link in the description. There you will find both right and left-handed video tutorials, links to all the supplies you need, any other tutorials mentioned here today, and of course a link to the written pattern. For this pattern you'll need small amounts of Lily Sugar and Cream, or if you need to substitute, Red Heart Scrubby Smoothie or Burnett Handicrafter all work great in this pattern. You'll also need a USG 4mm hook. This one happens to be by Furls. You'll also want to use stitch markers, as well as a tapestry needle and scissors, and all your usual crochet supplies. These quick gnome candy ornaments can be a lot of fun this holiday season. You can fill them with your favorite candy or other special treats, string them up as an advent calendar, hang them on the tree individually, use them as gift toppers, and tuck them into tablescapes. They're very easy to crochet, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. Okay, so the first thing we make is the base or head. I used gray, but of course you can use whatever color you like. It's basically a very simple cup made from the bottom up, all in single crochets. The trick is we're going to be working in a spiral, so there is no slip stitch, join, and chain one at the beginning of each round. The only chain is at the very beginning of the very first round. So to make this base, we're going to start with the magic circle, and there is a separate tutorial for this linked in the tutorial, as well as here on the YouTube channel and in the written pattern. I'm going to take the end of my yarn here, and I'm going to wrap it around my finger twice towards me. Then I am going to insert my hook under both of those loops, grab that first one, the furthest one back, pull it just under the other one there, the one with the tail, and then I'll yarn over and pull that loop through. Now I'm not going to count this as a stitch or a turning chain, it just locks my magic circle together. So now I'm going to go ahead and chain one. That's the only chain one for this pattern, or for this particular part of the pattern anyway. And then we're going to work 6 single crochets into the ring. So when we do that, we want to go under both of those loops, the one that's still wound around my finger and that tail end. Going under that tail end will let us pull our circle nice and tight closed. So I'm just going to carefully work a couple of single crochets here right around my ring. And once I've got a couple of them made here, it's easy enough to go ahead and pull my finger out. And now I can just crochet right into that ring itself. Again, just make sure you go around both of those strands. So when you've got 6 single crochets made in that ring, I will join you and we can begin round 2. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this pattern is made in a spiral, so we're not going to join at the end of this round. We're simply going to go ahead and pull on that tail there to close up our ring nice and tight. I like to hold on to it with my hook hand here to sort of stabilize it when I pull, so I can get that nice and tight. And then when I'm done crocheting this portion, I will weave that end in here on the wrong side, of course, but I'll go back and forth in a couple different directions, and that will help lock in that magic circle so it doesn't come undone. So to proceed, I want to go ahead for the round 2 and work 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Now, like I said, we're not going to join, so we're just going to go ahead and start working that first stitch right in that first stitch of the previous round. But that makes it very difficult to count our rounds. So what we want to do is put a stitch marker right in that first stitch as soon as we've made it. So I'm just going to wiggle my hook in there. We are working pretty tightly. This is one of those tight projects where you don't want to be able to see through your fabric at all. So there we go. I'll get that first single crochet made. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch marker right in that first stitch. As long as I keep a stitch marker in the first stitch of every round, I will never lose track of where those rounds end and begin, which can be a very difficult to do otherwise with spirals. So I'll get my hook right back in that loop there, and then I will go ahead and put a second single crochet right in that first stitch. There we go. Just go ahead and take your time and wiggle those on through if you need to. And then we're going to continue around working 2 more single crochets in each remaining stitch here. So at the end of round 2, you should have a total of 12 single crochets, 2 in each of those previous stitches from the previous round. Just remember though, when you get to the end, you don't want to join with a slip stitch. Okay, so I've finished round 2 and I have a total of 12 single crochets, starting counting from that first one with the stitch marker there. So to begin round 3, again, we're just going to start by crocheting right in that first marked stitch. And this time we're going to work 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then a single crochet in the next stitch. 2, then 1, 2, then 1, 2, then 1, all the way around. So at the end, we have 18 single crochets. So to begin, I'm just going to go right on into that first marked stitch for our first single crochet. You can see they're a lot easier to make. Starting off with those small circles, those first couple rounds can be really tight, but it does seem to loosen up a little bit after that. So I'll go ahead and mark that first stitch so I know and I can keep track of exactly where this round begins. Then I'm going to work a second single crochet into that same stitch, and then just 1 single crochet into the stitch after that. And that's our repeat. 2 in the next. Oh, this one wants to be tight, doesn't it? There we go. 1 and 2. Oops, caught my back tail there. There we go. And 1 in the stitch after that. So just continue on around, 2, then 1, 2, then 1, 2, then 1 for round 3. Okay, and with that, we're ready for round 4. Again, round 4, we'll start right in that first marked stitch. And for round 4, we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, 1, and then 2 in the next. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way around. So when we make that first one, we'll just go ahead and move that stitch marker right on up. Again, we want to make sure we keep track of it. So that's our 1, and then 1 in the next, and 2 in the one after that. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way around until you have a total of 24 single crochets. Okay, so at the end of round 4, you should have a total of 24 single crochets, and then you'll be ready for round 5. For round 5, our repeat is going to be single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, and then single crochet in the next 2. So 1, then 2, then 1, 1. 1, then 2, then 1, 1, all the way around, so that at the end, you should have 30 single crochets. So let's do one of those repeats together. We're going to do 1 in the first stitch. Always move that stitch marker up. I can't tell you how many times that stitch marker in the first stitch has saved my bacon on these. So there's 1, and then 2, 1, 2, and then 1 in each of the next 2. So 1 and 1. There we go. Then we start that repeat all the way around again. 1, then 2, 1, 2, then 1 in each of the next 2. 1 and 1. So I'll see you at the end of round 5 when we have 30 single crochets made. Okay, so like I said, at the end of round 5, you should have 30 single crochets made and a pretty good sized little circle here, just about big enough to hold one of those candies. Rounds 6 through 12 is going to be very simple, just single crochet in each stitch around. This is also called working even. We've got 30 single crochets in each row. So you can sort of at this point, starting here in the center, count up if you need to count your rows, but basically you just want to make a nice little cup here, just about the right size to hold one of those little truffles. So after you've made your 12 rounds, then round 13 is just a couple stitches to finish it all up. And you can kind of see right here on our cup where I've done that. We just want to bring that row down and attach it to, the next stitch so that we get a nice even top here. Now it does have that little jog in it, but that's going to be up inside the hat when they're displayed, so don't worry too much about that either. So I'm going to pretend here on our little swatch that I've already worked up my sides through round 12, and we're ready for round 13, which, like I said, is really just finishing the whole thing off. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take that stitch marker out and set it aside, and then I am going to slip stitch in the next stitch. So just a simple slip stitch. We're not going to be working back into it, so don't worry about making it big enough to work into. And after you've made that slip stitch, we're going to go ahead and break our yarn, which just means cut it. I always like to leave a good 6 inches though for weaving that end in. And then I am going to just pull on my hook straight up so that the end comes right up out of the center of that stitch. Let me set my hook aside here so it doesn't roll away. And then I will go ahead and put that end right on my yarn needle or tapestry needle here. And then I'm going to do the seamless join, where I'm just going to find the next stitch, not the one we slip stitched to, but the next one. I'm going to go under both of those top loops with my needle. Give it a little tug here, and then when I send my needle back into the center of that previous stitch, and I tend to catch a couple of those loops back there too. It's just an early jump on weaving in that end. And then I can give it a little tug here, and you can see how it looks like just another stitch there right along the top. And it creates just a little bit more of a gentle decline on our finished cup here. Again, let me turn it around here. You can see it's just a gentle decline right here. So if you don't like those, like I said, it's going to be hidden inside the hat. So you can go ahead and finish this off with the method that works best for you. And then it's time to make the top with the hat and beard. So here is the top hat. We've got the hat portion. We have an optional little hanging loop, depending on how you want to use it. You can add this at the end or not. It's up to you. And then there is, basically, we end up making a chin strap. You can see the color red right there peeking out. We go over it with the little beard. And then, of course, we put this on top of our little cup, slide the chin strap underneath, and that's what holds it all together. So to go ahead and begin your hat, we're going to start from the top down here. We're going to make the loop at the end. It's sort of an afterthought loop. Like I said, that way it's totally optional, but we're going to start here at the top and then work our way down. So to begin that hat, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with a magic circle. And then instead of working 6 single crochets into that ring, this time we're only going to work 4. So just as before, we want to make sure that we go under both of those loops and make our 4 single crochets for round 1 of our hat top. Now with only 4 stitches, this is going to give us a really nice pointy top to our hat. But just as before, we're going to go ahead and pull on that tail end. And we want to try and give it a really good tug here. Not so tight, of course, that you end up breaking the yarn accidentally, but you do want that top hole to be nice and closed up. Then we're going to go ahead and start round 2, which is 2 single crochets in the next stitch, followed by 1 single crochet in the stitch after that. We've only got 4 stitches to work into, so it's going to be 2, 1, 2, 1. So at the end of round 2, you're going to have a total of 6 single crochets. Now, this is going to be even tighter, and it's okay to really kind of have to push your hook in there for these stitches, but we want this to be a nice tight top to our hat. So as soon as I've got that first stitch made, I do still want to go ahead and put my stitch marker in it. So go ahead and use your stitch markers again throughout this top. It will help you as you continue to work in a spiral. But there's 1 and then 2 in the net, or rather a second one in that first stitch there. We got to have 2 in that first stitch. There we are, and 1 in the stitch after that. So repeat that again, and you should have a total of 6 single crochets in round 2. Okay, so after round 2, we're ready for round 3. This time, we're going to work a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches with 2 single crochets in the stitch after that. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and that will take us all the way around for round 3. So go ahead and keep working right into those stitches as we did before for your single crochets. Just remember it's 1, 1, 2. Okay, so at the end of round 3, you should have your 8 single crochets made. And if you're like me, you might notice that it's cupping up here. Remember, we're not making a flat circle right now. There haven't been enough increases for that. We're making the cone shape for the hat. So it's not abnormal for your work to be cupping here. It should be cupping here. The problem is, of course, it's cupping the wrong direction. So my tip for this is to go ahead and take the opposite end of your hook. Shouldn't matter which kind of hook, just the non-hook end here so that it's nice and rounded. And you can use that to just poke that hat out the right way so that now you're working from the outside of the hat again. And you can see we're already getting that great cone shape. So I'll stick my hook back in here. There we are. And we'll take a look at round 4. For round 4, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, and then single crochet in each of the next 2. I think we had a line like that in the base too. So it's 1, 2, 1, 1, then 1, 2, 1, 1 again, and we'll have a total of 10 single crochets. So I'll see you at the end of round 4. Okay, so our cone continues to grow for our hat, and we're ready for round 5. For round 5, we're going to be working 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. Then we do that again, 2 single crochets in the next, single crochet in each of the next 4, and that will finish up our round 5. So for round 5, we'll have a total of 12 single crochets. So just remember 2 in the first one, and then 4 single crochets after that. Okay, so moving on to round 6, our repeat is going to be single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, then 1 in single crochet in the next stitch. So it's 4 ones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, then 2, then 1. So let's try that and do one of those repeats together. Let's go ahead and work into our first stitch here. And then go ahead and move up that stitch marker, of course. There we are. So 1, and then a second, or 1 in the next one. So that's 2, 1 in the next one, that's 3, 1 in the next one, that's 4. There we are. Then 2 in the next one, 1, 2, then 1 in the next one. That's our repeat. So let's go ahead and just do that again together here, since it is still a pretty short row, or round rather. So there's 1, 1, 1, and 1, and then 2, 1, 2, and then 1, and that finishes up round. That would be round 6. We should have a total of 14 single crochets. Now, you may have noticed I've been struggling a little bit here with this tail end there in the center. This is a really great opportunity if you want to go ahead and pop that wrong side out again to go ahead and weave in that end. And indeed, if you want to go ahead and add that hanging loop right there at the top, which is simply a chain of 6, and then you take the 2 ends and sew them in, you can go ahead and do that right now too. It's just a little bit easier to weave those ends in on the inside of the hat before it gets too small. But for the sake of time now, I'm just going to go ahead and tuck that little tail end in there. So hopefully it will stay out of our way as we continue crocheting our top right now. So let me get my hook right back in there, and we should be ready for round 7. Now, round 7 is going to be single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, then single crochet in each of the next 4. So it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Again, we only have to do that repeat twice. So let's go ahead and do it once together. We're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So we start right in that first one. Move our stitch marker up. So there's 1, and then 1 in the next, then 2 single crochets in the next. There's 1 and 2, and then single crochet in each of the next 4. So 1, 1, 1, and 1. Then you would start again. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. That takes us to 16 single crochets. Okay, so then we come to round 8. And round 8 is where our increases are going to get a little funkier, and we want to really start flaring out the sides of our hat. So for round 8, our repeat is going to be 2 single crochets in the next, then single crochet in each of the next 3. So we're shortening the length of that repeat so we can get more stitches in there and get a wider hat. So if we do 2, then 1, 1, 1, 2, then 1, 1, 1, we'll end up doing that 4 times for a total of 20 single crochets. So let's go ahead and work one of those repeats together. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch. So there's the first one. We'll get our stitch marker up there. Then a second one right in that first stitch. And then we just work a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we just do that repeat again. 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 rather. And that will take us all the way around again, so that at the end of round 8, we should have a total of 20 single crochets. Okay, and then we're ready for round 9. Our round 9 repeat is going to be single crochet in each of the next 2, 2 single crochets in the stitch after that, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 again. So it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, all the way around for a total of 24 single crochets. So let's work one of those repeats together. We're going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1, in the next stitch, and then 1 in the stitch after that, then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1, 2, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So then you just repeat that 3 more times. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, all the way around. And that should bring you to a total of 24 single crochets at the end of round 9. Okay, and our hat continues to grow, and you can see it's getting just a little bit more flair there as we've been adding more increases these last couple rounds. So for round 10, we are going to do our repeat of single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and then 2 in the single crochet after that. So 1, 2, 3, or rather 1, 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, 1, and then 2. 1, 1, 1, and then 2, all the way around for a total of 30 single crochets. So that's 1 in the first stitch. Move our stitch marker up here. And then 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1, and then 1, and then 1, and then 2. And we just continue that all the way around. Again, you should have a total of 30 single crochets at the end of round 10. Coming to round 11, it's very simple. We're just going to work even, a single crochet in each stitch around. So at the end of round 11, again, you should have 30 single crochets. Now for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and skip over that one. You've seen me single crochet before, and let's move on to round 12. Round 12 does have one more set of increases. It's our last round of increases for this pattern. We're going to work 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then single crochet in each of the next 4. So 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around until you have a total of 36 single crochets at the end of round 12. Okay, so at the end of round 12, we've got our 36 single crochets made, and we're ready for rounds 13 through 15 are simply working even. 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So if we pull up the finished hat here, you can see how that creates some straighter sides there for those last few rounds. After you've got your 15 rounds made, it's time to add the chin strap and then the beard. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pretend I've got my 15 rounds done on our little hat here. After you've finished round 15, we don't join or slip stitch or anything like that. It should basically look like this, although obviously a little bit taller. And we're just going to go ahead and move right on straight to the chin strap instructions. For that, we chain 12. And we're not going to be working into these individual chains, so they don't have to be super big. You can just go ahead and make your chains comfortably for you. So there's 3, 4, 5. I'll count in my head so you can count your own. And almost done. And there we go. As soon as you've got 12 chains made there, we can go ahead and break our yarn. Again, we want to make sure to leave enough of an end there to weave it in nicely. And then I will go ahead and get my yarn needle ready here. And this time I'm going to go ahead and just yarn over and pull that end through so that it's nice and secured. And then when I put that end on my yarn needle, what I want to do is sew it to the opposite the opposite stitch of the brim. So I know I've got 36 stitches in this round, so I just need to count out to 18. That's half. So we'll start with the marked stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I know that is the stitch opposite that final stitch of where we ended up before. So I'll just go straight into that stitch with my yarn needle, and I just want to give a nice secure sewing here so that the chin strap is nice and secure on both sides. So you know, nothing fancy, just go ahead and sew it right in, get it nice and secure, weave in those ends, of course, when you're all done. I'm just going to tack it down a little bit here under a few stitches so it stays out of our way. There we are. And then I'll just stuff that in there for now. There we are. And we've got our chin strap made. Now it's time to add the little beard. Now, normally I would add the beard in white, like you can see here on the finished ones, but I'm going to use gray here today, so it's a little bit easier to see. I can go ahead and take that stitch marker out. We're all done with it now. And then to add the little beard section here, I like to start at the end that was sewn in rather than the end we just crocheted from. I'm not sure exactly why. I just think in the end it looks a little bit nicer on the finished product. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to join with a single crochet. This is also known sometimes as a standing single crochet. It's a very, very simple technique though. We're going to take our beard color and go ahead and make a slip knot and put it right on the hook like you normally would to just go ahead and begin crocheting. So once we've got our slip knot on the hook, I hold onto that little tail end here with my hook hand and my non-hook fingers. Find that sewn end there or wherever you want to go ahead and join for your project. And I'm going to just go right around the chin strap. Like I said, we're not going to be working into any of these individual chains. Just go right around the chin strap. Grab your yarn here from the back, pull it up, and make a single crochet, just as you normally would. That little slip knot there holds it nicely in place, and this way we haven't had to join and do a chain one or anything. We can just go right on into crocheting. So I like to tug that a little bit close here to the edge so that we do get a good coverage of our chin strap. And we're going to be squeezing these stitches in a little bit, so don't worry about making them too close to each other. We do get a really nice solid line here for our beard. So with that single crochet made, then we begin the part that's in the brackets, and we're going to do this set of stitches 4 times over. So here's how it begins. We start with a half double crochet, right around that chin strap, then double crochet 3. So 1, and then 2, and again, I'm just kind of keeping them comfortably next to each other here. I'm not worrying too much about placement. There's 3, then we half double crochet again, and then we single crochet. And that is our set of stitches that we're going to repeat again. Oops, my yarn split a little bit on that, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull that stitch out and remake that single crochet. There we go. So let's do that section in the brackets again. Half double crochet, double crochet 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then half double crochet again, and then finish with a single crochet. Let me go ahead and pull that loop. Oh, my hook got a little caught. There we go. Pull that loop up here. You can see at this point we've done 2 of our repeats. We're going to be doing a total of 4. Like I said here, you can see each of those little shells are basically 1 repeat. So at this point, you want to be about halfway through your chin strap. So since we're just working right over the strap, you can give it a little tug. If it's not halfway yet, you can spread it out a little bit. Just give it a little zhuzh there to get it set up where you want it to be. Then we can do that repeat twice more. Half double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, half double crochet again, and then finish with a single crochet. So we've got 1 more repeat for our little beard here, so let's go ahead and do it together. Start with our half double crochet, double crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. And pull up a little bit more yarn here. There we go. Then we finish that repeat up with our half double crochet and end with our single crochet. And we'll just tuck that right in here at the opposite end of the strap. And you can see we've got our 4 little repeats made there. There's our beard. So now we can just go ahead and cut our yarn. And then however you like to finish that off, you can pull it straight up or you can yarn over and pull through, whatever makes you happy. And then we can weave in our ends and we've got our little beard made. Now, the last thing you might want to add is that optional hanging loop. I mentioned earlier it's a little easier to do it at the beginning, but you can add it at the end if you like. I know I made several of these before I decided exactly how they were going to go together. So to make the hanging loop, all you need is a simple chain of 6 with a couple good ends here, and then you just go ahead and loop that over and sew in those ends right at the top of your hat. I like to do it in the same color of the hat, of course, but you could do it in the color of your ribbon if you're going to string them up, or in a contrast color. It's really totally up to you. Okay, and then you're ready to assemble and put some fun treats in there. You can just go ahead and pop in any of these nice sized truffles. There are a couple different brands that have these. Candy's approximately this size, a small gift, whatever you want to do. Like I say, I think this is a really fun gift topper as well as a great advent calendar. Then you simply put that bottom right into the top of the hat here. Get that nice and secure in there, however you like it arranged. And then we just pull that chin strap down to the bottom of the head here. Give it a little zhuzh as needed. And there we have it. That is your quick gnome candy ornament. And that's how to crochet the Gnome Candy Ornaments, which is a free pattern you'll find on mooglyblog.com. Again, feel free to make these with your Lily Sugar and Cream stash, or if you need to, go ahead and grab from your Red Heart Scrubby Smoothie, your Handicrafter Cotton. All of these make great choices for this project. And with these, you can make ornaments, or like I say, you can make a really fun advent calendar, whatever floats your boat. It's just a really great scrappy project that you can make year-round and have ready when holiday season comes. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day, everybody. And don't forget to like and subscribe.